Jared Logan. Welcome to Glass Cannon Radio, the show where you sound off about your favorite things in geek culture at least 2 more times today and then 1 more time.
And then shut up.
And then after that, mouth. I don't want to hear a goddamn word out of your mouth. Then it's time to shut the hell up.
Oh, man.
Welcome to Glass Cannon Radio, the penultimate episode of Glass Cannon Radio. Joe, how's it going?
It's going great, buddy. Going fantastic. I am super excited for today's episode. Sad news, that Glass Cannon Radio is going away.
Yes.
But the positive end of that is, I think in some ways, it didn't jump the shark, right? Like it didn't die a sad death after being amazing and then falling into obscurity. It's going to be nice and tight, and I can tell you, looking at this week and looking at next week, I'm so excited for like our final 2 episodes, which we've got really exciting plans for, and it starts today. So really looking forward to today.
So many exciting plans. Next week, you'll be able to donate to have me remove different pieces of clothing.
That's going to be huge. That's going to be huge.
Yeah. And I'm going to start out in like a big, crazy top hat and cape with like gloves. I'm going to look like a magician. But then by the end, it's going to be a naked magician. and we'll have earned upwards of $400.
It'll be worth every penny.
Yep. Well, I'm responding to an email from Troy LaValle. I'm trying to decide on my games for the Naishville retreat.
Ah, yes.
And I think I've landed on Realms of Pugmire.
Realms of Pugmire? What is that?
Realms of Pugmire. The original Pugmire tabletop role-playing game rules provide streamlined play and easy creation of heroic dogs, with an emphasis on cooperation and action over competition and violence. And
that's so you, Jared. That's
you can
so
be a corgi, you can be a Dalmatian.
Oh man, I can't.
Looks good.
Yeah. Who loves that idea? Which of you in chat want to play that game?
I'm going to run 3 sessions of Realms of Pugmire. 12 hours of it.
I haven't heard of that one.
It's a mini campaign.
Our good buddy Skid is in chat today.
What's up, Skid?
Live from Europe. Live from the UK. What's up, dude?
Well, top of the morning to you.
Well, or good evening.
Good evening. I forgot. Dinner. Time zones. I get so confused by time zones. Wait, Joe, what time is it where you are right now?
It's 12 o'clock in
holy shit!
Isn't that
it's
crazy?
9 here.
What day?
It is Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. It's noon here Friday.
Okay, it's noon Friday there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty wild.
All right. So if I sent you a letter, it would get to you before I sent it?
Bizarre. I know. Mind blown. Physics.
Well, we're going to get into an incredible show today. You can always raise your hand in the Discord Glass Cannon Radio stage, and we will call on you to weigh in on our topics today. The topics, the aforementioned topics are, we are going to do an A. My offense is rank. We are ranking endings.
As the show comes to an end, let's talk about our favorite. Some of our favorite endings.
Yes, what are our favorite endings? We're talking books, movies, TV, video games. I mean, it's totally up to you. Then after that, we're going to talk about how all good things must come to an end, and how do you end a campaign in a tabletop role-playing game? What is necessary to create a great ending in a tabletop role-playing game? Then after that, I am so excited. We knew we had to do this before we ended Glass Cannon Radio.
That's right.
We are talking anime. Now,
there we go.
That is the broadest topic we've ever put at position 3. So, but I do have thoughts on anime, and they're probably not what people think. And I would encourage everybody, this is your chance to call in and talk about your obscure anime that you love. Okay, so that's gonna be topic 3. Then we're gonna react to the trailer for the Colin Farrell, Margot Robbie romantic comedy, A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. Really excited to see this one. Looks like it has some fantasy elements, so appropriate for this show. And then we also might talk about the trailer for Tron Ares. And finally, I'm going to end it all with a little bit of an editorial. Sometimes we call it a nerd rant. So let us begin with my offenses rank. You know the rules. Joe and I have created a top 5, although Joe just told me he created a top 10 for some reason.
Had to. There were too many. There were too many.
Fucking feverish maniac.
Well, you know that I usually do top 5, and I usually have honorable mentions that I then see if callers kind of, I'll give them the opportunity to mention their favorites in this list or things we didn't say. And if it's on my list, that's a funny thing. This time, if I'm not mistaken, I ended up doing a top 10, and I still have 7 honorable mentions outside of that. Holy
shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just like anything you got to the end of, I think.
And guess what? It's so hard that right out of the gate, I cut out anything that wasn't a movie. So this is only movies.
You only did movies?
I only did movies.
Okay, so, well, I did movies and TV shows and books. And you know what? I really tried to get a comic book series in there because I think that there are some great comic book series endings, but they didn't break my top 5. Looks like 2 comics broke my runners up. And then, of course, video games is something I don't do a lot of. So maybe some callers can kind of, if they have a favorite video game ending, because I know endings are huge in video games. You get that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
The reward for all of your striving. So let's begin today. Endings. Well, before we jump, first of all, I think it's amazing that you had 17 and I had trouble getting 5, honestly.
I don't know what. I mean, I guess I love movies. I'm not sure.
We'll see how we differ here. We'll see how we differ. Yeah. Oh, look, I'm getting blurry again. That's actually not my camera. That's me. I'm just gonna keep holding up pieces of paper. There we go. Okay, so here we go. So, why don't I start? First of all, what makes a great ending, I think, is a nice brief thing we can say. Which I think a great ending sort of like recontextualizes the entire thing you've seen before. Now, that can mean a twist, but not necessarily, It's just a moment at the end where it kind of all comes together, where it was inevitable, but also unexpected in a way, surprising. So that's what I think. I mean, what do you think makes a great ending, Joe?
I think that there's so many details that go into it, but I'd say the overarching one for me, and I think this really informs my list, is you have to desperately want to see more at that moment. I think a great ending is something that is like, oh, this is something I want to see more of at this moment. And while also doing it, it makes you want more, but then also it closes the loop on everything. But while also leaving enough questions that you want to see more. You know what I mean? So it's a very hard, endings are extremely hard. And we'll get into this in campaign play.
Yeah, they can be too ambiguous or they can be too definite, right? Like you say, a little ambiguity is great. I just want to see one more scene or 2 more scenes. Leaving an audience feeling that way, I think, is amazing, while also wrapping things up. And that's easier said than done, because a lot of times there's these storylines, especially in TV shows and in RPG campaigns, that they get out there and there's a lot of what they call loose ends, right? There's a lot of loose ends. Yeah. And you don't necessarily, trying to wrap all of them up could ruin it, right? In a big TV show, in a 6-season TV show, trying to answer every single thing or give a great ending to every single character
might ruin the ending. So you have to really
Sure.
pick and choose and tread carefully.
Yeah.
And an ending that leaves you thinking, and an ending that leaves you walk away thinking like, well, you know, wow, I need to know more. I want to know more, or there's more mystery here while something else was also solved. Very cool. Very cool.
No, it's true. When I read a great book or watch a great movie or end a great TV show, I think about it for days and days after, you know, like it just kind of sticks with me. And
Yep.
it doesn't always stick with me the same way if it didn't end. Like if I'm watching a TV show and the season ends, but the story's still going on, I don't necessarily ruminate on it as much. My brain goes, okay, save that for later because more is coming. But with an ending, you kind of ruminate. All right, if you don't mind, I will start.
Please.
I will start with one of my favorite endings of all time. I'm pretty sure you don't have this one, so I'm going to go ahead and go into it. But as always, if you have it, higher on your list, just let me know and we'll stop. Here's my hint. God damn you! God damn you all to hell!
Wait, can I guess? I've never seen it. Is that Planet of the Apes?
It's the original 1968 Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston, which is a fantastic movie. And I really like most of the movies in the Apes franchise, the new ones and the old ones. But that one is, the original that started it all. And you get this great epic, almost quest-like fantasy journey on the Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston. And then at the very end, he escapes with the girl. They're going to be free, and then they're riding the horse along the ocean shore, and he comes to the Statue of Liberty, and he's like, I was home the whole time. They did it. They finally did it. Oh, God damn you. I love the acting.
Now, does that kind of, I always thought about this because I never saw the movie, but I've heard that as a famous ending. Is that a twist? Like, is that
It is a twist. You
twist,
are not
right?
aware that you're on Earth while you're watching Planet of the Apes. You think that he has traveled to an ape planet.
Right.
And then you realize, it's just the Earth. After they nuked it, the apes became hyper intelligent or whatever. I mean, that's not what the later trilogies or the later Apes movies, how they explain it. But anyway, it's in a post-apocalyptic Earth is what you find out. Mm-hmm. So it is a twist, but it also is just... So it's a twist, and it's a twist in that really cool way that like a Twilight Zone has a twist, or like other media from like kind of that era. Like if you ever read like old Tales from the Crypts or weird science comics where they have a twist at the end, like it's got that kind of a deal to it. But at the same time, it just kind of like looks really kind of beautiful with the ocean waves crashing in and that rusted like remains of a Statue of Liberty. It's an iconic image. And so I will never forget that ending.
That's cool. I think looking across mine, actually, I'll say my number 5 has a little bit of that. The shot is great.
Yes.
The rest of mine are more story-based than the shot and more character-based than the shot. But my 5th one, coming in at number 5 for me, I think there is a bit of the shot to this. I'm going to go with The Shawshank Redemption.
The Shawshank Redemption.
Shawshank Redemption.
What now?
Yeah, it exactly. And following Red's journey outside,
yes.
It's also so built up perfectly because of what happened to
Brooks.
And
his Red's journey at the very end mirrors Brooks's journey. And we know Brooks's ended with Brooks's death.
So it's very sad. Brooks's ending is very sad, and you see it moving in that direction. We've already had the whole movie. This isn't like Act 3 of 5, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this is, we're wrapping up here. And so it moves very fast from scene to scene of him having a hard time, like re-entering civilian life. And you're thinking, oh, this is going to go bad down the Brooks way. But then finds his way to them. And then this is, this beautiful scene walking down the beach. This whole movie, you've been in a prison. So you've just been all kind of confined in. And then suddenly at the end, this beautiful, huge, like Caribbean-like, beach with the beautiful sea, and just in a suit, like a loosened suit and dress shoes, walking on the beach. And then you see Andy Dufresne. And this checks off my box of, I want to see more. Like, I want to see them talk. I want to see them, like, what do they do? Like, what is what are their lives like out here and everything? Do they stay, away for, does he ever get caught? Like,
do they get into a romantic relationship together?
Right. Was there something deeper there? Is this a love story that we could have had?
It is a love story of sorts.
It sure is.
On some level. That's a fantastic all-time classic ending. It's an epilogue, right? Because the main action of the movie is over, and it's over. Sort of an epilogue. But you're right. It really is. It's so brilliant how it completely maps exactly to that little journey of Brooks, like in the middle of the movie.
Right.
So their epilogue works in this suspense, right? Which, usually epilogue, you're done with the suspense, but this works in suspense. Is Red gonna, kill himself? That's what happens to Brooks. And then it ends on that gorgeous beach.
And I believe it's like a helicopter shot at the end. It's kind of shaky, and it's just pulling away, and you see the two small dots walking to each other on the beach.
Yeah.
Just awesome. Raya Q in Discord chat says, get busy living or get busy dying.
That's right.
So good.
Brooks was here. Brooks was here.
Yeah, Brooks was here.
And so was Red. All right. So this is where I had a lot of trouble. I had a lot of trouble with my 3, 4, and 5. So I had a lot of runner-ups here, but and again, I'm going with a movie I bet a lot of people haven't seen, and I apologize. But I know it's a movie
this is your thing. All deep cuts.
Well, to me, they're not deep cuts. I mean, they're actually the classics of modern cinema. But I realize why a lot of people might not have seen it, because they were busy streaming Emily in Paris. So listen. If you haven't seen this movie, Joe, it is a Joe movie through and through.
All right.
It is a 1957 film directed by David Lean, entitled The Bridge on the River Kwai.
Oh, I've never seen that. That's one of my dad's favorite movies.
The Bridge on the River Kwai is fucking phenomenal. It is a guy movie in a way. It's about like World War II, the Pacific Theater, commandos, British soldiers. But I don't want to spoil the ending since you haven't seen it. But I will just say this. The Bridge on the River Kwai is about these British soldiers who become POWs with the Japanese during World War II. And I believe it's in Burma. And the Japanese put them to work building a bridge. And the British the British soldiers are so proud of their pedigree and how hard they work and how they stick to their duty, that when they're put together building this bridge, they're doing a phenomenally good job, even though they're working for the enemy.
Right.
And then an American team is sent to blow up the bridge. And the British man, who has some Stockholm syndrome, played by Alec Guinness, who's been in charge of building this bridge, comes into conflict with people on his own side who want to blow it up. And it is this really, really,
is it based on a novel? Like, that's such a spectacularly deep idea for a movie.
Incredibly strange. The novel is by Pierre Boulle, a French author, who also wrote the novel for the Planet of the Apes.
Whoa.
I picked these separately, and then I was like, oh, maybe this guy's just very good at endings. But then I looked it up, and the novel ends very differently from the film of Bridge on the River Kwai. So anyway, if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. At the very end, you find out what happens to the bridge. Again, it's an incredible shot. But it's also this sort of incredible moment of catharsis and revelation. And Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi, is one of the greatest actors of all time, And he has this revelatory moment there at the end. And I just think it has one of the greatest endings of all time. So there you go. Everybody go see it, and then you'll know what I'm talking about.
All right. So coming in at number 4 for me, it's interesting. As soon as you said it's a classic of modern cinema, Joe, it made me laugh because there's a funny story among my buddies and I. This is like early mid 2000s. do you remember when Celebrities was like got big as like a party game where you would like put celebrity names in a hat and then you had to like give clues to get people to guess them? And I was right out of college and we were playing this game a lot, and I was at a fantasy football draft, and the draft was over and it was late night and everybody was drinking, and we were like, oh, let's play Celebrities. We put celebrities in a hat. So there's my buddy's younger brother and some of his friends played in this league too. They're like 5 years younger than us ish. And one of my friends put in the hat Humphrey Bogart. And this other kid pulls it and he's like, I don't know what this is. I've never heard this name in my life. Like, stop putting in weird random like names that aren't celebrities. And my buddy Dave is just sitting there after we figure out who it is. And he's just like, he is perhaps the greatest celebrity of all time. He's like, he's maybe the biggest actor of all time is basically the way that he put it.
Humphrey Bogart movies are so incredible. There are so many good ones. I love Humphrey Bogart, and I have a list, and I cross them off every time I see a Humphrey Bogart. But listen, if you're someone who doesn't fucks with black and white movies, I feel sorry for you. You're missing out. You're missing out.
I got to do more. I got to do more of those. But
make the time. Show up for black and white movies.
With that, coming in at number 4 for me is Casablanca, a classic. Yes. And it really, I don't say this because it's like, oh yeah, that's a great ending. It's a classic ending. I remember that ending. I say it because I saw Casablanca for the first time this year.
Oh, wow.
And this ending just hit me so hard. Not only because it's so great in and of itself, but because I had heard the final line. I believe this is the start of a beautiful friendship. Right? A famous, I've heard that final line, similar to Planet of the Apes, right? Like 1,000 times. It's been spoofed in a million things. I think this is going to be the start of a beautiful friendship. And I never knew it was from Casablanca. I just never knew.
I didn't know that was from Casablanca? Nope. It's been parodied in everything.
I know, but I didn't know that was Casablanca. I just always, and I never knew what Casablanca was about. I just never cared to look into it or find out. So then I'm watching this whole movie. I'm loving this whole movie. And I am loving Louis Renault, this character.
Right, yes.
He's so awesome.
Yes, that's that incredible actor. What's his name? Oh, my God.
I'm blanking on his name.
No, I'm going to get it up right now.
It's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, you have this incredible relationship between these two characters that are...
Claude Rains,
right. These two characters, Humphrey Bogart and Claude Rains, and they're kind of like rivals a little bit. They're kind of like, they're not friends, but they have like a friendly-ish, frenemy kind of bant to them throughout the movie, but one's on one side and one's on the other. One's a cop and the other one is like a bar owner, and the cop's always but he's a corrupt cop and he's squeezing the bar owner and stuff. And they don't jive too well throughout the movie. And it gets to the point where like it all comes together. And now this checks off my box of I want to see all of the loose ends tied up, and the way that this movie does it in literally like 1 minute after 2 hours of movie where you still don't know what's going to happen going into the last 120 seconds of the movie. Like you do not know what choice he's going to make with
ending,
the girl.
Right? When you don't know what's going to happen in the last 3 minutes, you know.
You don't know what choice he's going to make with Ingrid Bergman. You don't know what choice he's going to make with the Nazi threat. You don't know what choice he's going to make with the French police. And it all just whoom in one scene. There's a couple actions that just wrap it all up,
and you're one iconic scene.
Yeah, and you're like
beloved all-time scene.
This is brilliant. Like everybody wins in a way. Like it all works out amazingly, except the Nazis, which is great. And then they walk off together, and then check off my box. I want to see more. Like now I wanted to see those two go into hiding or go on the run and start having adventures together. It's just great.
So you want to hear about when I was a kid, how dorky I actually was? So
please.
I loved this movie when I was a kid. And one time I got in big trouble because my cousin and I, you remember when you had answering machines and you could record a message?
Yeah.
My cousin and I got onto my uncle's answering machine and changed the outgoing message. And I still remember what it was. It was me doing Humphrey Bogart. And I said, of all the houses in all the world, you had to call ours while we weren't at home. Leave a message or you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life.
But soon and for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and everybody was like, what is that? And I was like 11, and I was like, it's Humphrey Bogart. And they were like, you don't change your uncle's message. Because he had like business acquaintances call and hear some kid going, I'm Humphrey Bogart.
Oh my God, that's so funny, dude. That is so
really
funny. I mean, so many
weird.
great lines. I mean, here's looking at you, kid. It comes up in that he says it throughout the movie, but it comes up in that final scene. And then, oh man, and we'll always have Paris. It's so great. It's just a line. It means like you can have these good times here and then never again, but always remember these good times. So good.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I mean, there's a reason. I think objectively it's number one. It didn't make my list only because I'm doing kind of my favorites, but I think if you were doing an objective greatest endings of all time list, that might be number one.
Yep.
My number three, again, it's like I'm going for stuff that I really love. And I've mentioned on here many times, and I wanted to, before the show ended, I wanted to mention again how much I love the writer Shirley Jackson, who wrote The Haunting of Hill House. And I read one of her novels every year, at least one every year. And she has one that has, for my money, one of the scariest endings I've ever read in a book. It made chills go up my spine, and there's nothing overtly scary in it. It's completely psychological. And that is her novel, which is entitled We Have Always Lived in the Castle from 1962. So I won't give the full synopsis, but suffice to say, it's about these two sisters who live in the house where the rest of their family was poisoned in this big murder case where like 6 people were poisoned at once, and the elder sister went to trial for it and was acquitted. And they live in this house, and everybody that lives in the town around this big old house hates them and whispers about them, and there are rumors about them. And the whole time, you know that the younger sister is weird. Like, she thinks she's doing magic, and she's got all these like little rituals she does where she cuts people's hair and puts it in the ground and buries it and does all. She's an unreliable narrator. She's the narrator of the book. And the elder sister, you're like, she has a chance at being sane. Like, if her life were to change here in a little bit, she could have a normal life. She could leave this house and she could go out and find love and have a family and have a career. But at the end of the book, something very different happens. And it's not that anybody gets killed or gets hurt. There's no kind of monster or ghost or vampire or anything. It's just about people making the decision to be hoarders and shut themselves into a place and push things against the doors and stay in this little, not even their whole house, because at that point it's mostly burned down, just stay in this little small part of their house forever. And it describes the two sisters sitting facing the front door and hearing people come and knock on the door and just not saying anything, just sitting there quietly and watching. And it's just unnerving.
Chilling. Yeah.
And all it is just about like people sort of giving in to
choosing to give up on the world or
giving up on the world. Yeah. And I mean, that's as nihilistic an ending as I've ever read in anything. And as you know, Joe, and some of the viewers know, I love depressing shit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just a very well-crafted, depressing ending that really gave me chills that I thought about for a long time. So that's We Have Always Lived in the Castle.
Nice.
Got a book. We got a book in there.
I've got now that you mentioned it, I put two books on my honorable mentions that we can maybe talk about. All right, here we go. So, number 3 for me, another classic that you'll find on many lists for greatest endings. And the reason that this one is on my list, it goes right into what you just said. Talk about nihilistic. This is an ending where it leaves you thinking. big time, because it's a happy ending that in the final seconds is like, leads you to question, is it a happy ending? And you don't know, and the credits roll. And it's brilliant. I'm talking, of course, about The Graduate.
The Graduate. There's a couple endings like that. I thought you might have been about to say Inception. With
Inception?
The spinning top.
Inception, number 10 on the top 10
Number 10
list.
on your list. But I love that you said The Graduate, because that is really a truly awesome moment at the end of The Graduate. And The Graduate, which is a movie that's so good about sort of capturing real people and how people act, and to undercut. Well, I'll let you kind of describe what you're talking about, because some people might not know.
Yeah. So, as Jared said, it stood out to me. I saw it in my 20s, and it really stood out to me as like, yes, one of these movies that felt it didn't feel like a popcorn movie, right? It didn't feel like, heroes and heroines, or, a classic love story. It felt like very real people in very real situations. There was not overacting. It's really kind of like low key. And it builds this love story to a moment that is like, that's so big, which is, I'm in love with a woman and she's marrying another man. And it comes to the point of, I have to stop this from happening. And so you go and you stop the wedding from happening, and you say, I need to tell you all the things I never told you. I need you to know that I love you, and I don't want this to happen. And then she says, I've loved you the whole time too. And it's just like, and I run away. And then the scene is great because they sprint from the wedding.
Yeah, she's in the wedding gown. They run out of the church.
And they run to the first city bus, just bang on the door and like hop on the bus. And because I think his car dies, and his car dies. Right, and he runs to get to the church on time before the vows are said. And so they hop on the bus and they sit down in the back of the bus. And I'm just getting chills because this also came at a time in my teenage years. I got way into Simon and Garfunkel. Yes. Because my dad was into it. And that took me on, obviously, a very emotional journey, because that folk music and those songs, they're tragic stories, and they're very emotional, and there's all kinds of like life lessons and stuff in them. And so all of a sudden you just hear the finger picking strings of the guitar for the sound of silence. Yeah. And they're sitting on the bus, and the cut is astounding. They get on the bus, they're laughing, they're looking back at everybody that's like trying to run for them, and he hoots in joy, hollering, so excited. And then the camera doesn't move.
It just stays on them.
A full minute and a half.
Yeah.
And they get their breath, and they stop smiling. And then you can see he starts thinking, like, what's next? Like, what am I supposed to do now? And it just sits, and the song is just playing. And then she starts to get like, wait a minute, did I make the right decision? You can see it in her face. She looks at him like pensively, and he's just looking away in the distance and looks miserable. It's so weird. And
I think you're reading more into it. I think that
I read a lot into it.
You read a lot into it there. I don't think that you're like, oh, he's miserable.
No. I'm exaggerating.
Right.
But he is not giving her any reassurance. He doesn't look back and smile.
They have a moment that it's ambiguous, right? There is a moment at the end that is ambiguous, where you're kind of like, what is going to happen here? Because it doesn't just end on, yay, we did it, we're in love. It ends on, and now the moment after, right? Like the moment after the victory, right now, there's uncertainty. There is uncertainty. And how brilliant is it that a movie that is so about real people and real life undercuts its sort of rom-com ending with and it does it with what? Like you said, a minute of footage right after another movie that was just like a straight up rom-com would have ended. The movie goes on for another minute of footage.
There's no more lines. And there's no more scenes. It just leaves the camera rolling.
And it adds that layer of uncertainty. And it makes it so beautiful and real and compelling, and it makes you want to see more, and you wonder, is it going to work out for these kids? I think another movie might have hit that on the head harder like gone a little too far and made it like look like, oh, this is definitely not going to work out, or made that sort of a theme or a feature of the story. But this movie, it's just a little bit of filmmaking at the end that adds just that layer of ambiguity, that little element of uncertainty. And it's really
iconic.
Cool. It becomes iconic because of that. Yeah, great ending. It's a great ending.
What do you got for number 2? You said this one was easy for you. Your number 1 and number 2 were clear.
My number 1 and number 2 were very clear. So another thing that I wanted to talk about, because we wanted to talk about anime before we got out of here on Glass Cannon Radio. I wanted to talk about Shirley Jackson again, if I could possibly work her in. And then one thing we never really got to cover the way I wanted to was the Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings. And the Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King have, for my money, one of the greatest endings in literature. Yeah,
it's so funny. I kind of just felt like I kept pushing it down the list until it was just kind of like out of there, because I was like, everybody knows this. And some people complain about the ending, of the movie versus the book and the way that it's done in the movie and stuff. And I'm not a big book guy. I'm more of a movie guy. And so I left it off my list, but I love it. So tell me what you love about it.
Well, it ends with Samwise sitting in Bag End with his wife, having just come back from seeing Frodo sail off to Valinor. And he sits down at the table and he says, "Well, I'm back." Yeah. And that's the final line of the entire saga. "Well, I'm back." And it sums up so much, because even if you read The Hobbit has all of that talk about when you go out your door and you follow the road, how you don't know where it's going to take you. And it's so much of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit are about journeys that you go on. And at this point, Sam Gamgee has been home from his adventure for like 2 years, but he's not really back until that moment after he's seen his friend off to Valinor, And really the entirety of the epilogue portion of The Lord of the Rings is maybe the greatest epilogue of all time, because really they defeat Sauron, and then there are like 5 chapters left. And people, maybe not that many, maybe there's like 3, but people complain about that. They're like, this thing never stops ending, but the endings are so fucking good. Like when they journey back to the Shire, all of the other characters show up and kind of walk with them, Galadriel and Elrond and all these people. And it's like a kind of a little like a goodbye tour, all the way back to the Shire. Then you get the scouring of the Shire, which, is, I can't believe they left it out of the movies. I know why. There wouldn't be enough time, but it's such an incredible bookend to the whole thing. And it's the thing that shows you how much they've grown. You don't really get an idea of how much the hobbits have grown unless you read the scouring of the Shire. And then, of course, which they did keep in the movie, seeing Frodo and Gandalf and Galadriel and everybody sail off to the west. Tears. But that final line, "Well, I'm back," I think is just such a
it's
pitch perfect, beautiful little line.
I'm starting to get emotional, even as I think of my last couple. And when I was making this list, I went and watched some of these again, like just brought them up on YouTube to like refresh myself. And I was like tearing up at some of these endings because they're so good. And I remember, what always jumps out to me is I had never read the books when the movies came out. I read The Hobbit, but I had never read Lord of the Rings trilogy. I was just at a time in my life where I didn't read the stuff like that. And I was like, that's just too much. That's too long. And I didn't even see the movie in the theater. McDermott had me watch his DVD of Fellowship at his apartment like a couple days before Two Towers came out. And I was obviously blown away. Like I think that I really credit it with like getting me back into fantasy and D&D. Like I remember that night in his apartment being like, this is like when we were kids and we used to play. It was like you had a fighter and an archer and a wizard and anyway, I loved it. And so I got way into it. By the time Return of the King came out, I was living in New York. My life had changed. I moved to New York City. I was living in New York, and I went and watched the movie on a break from work. It was over the holidays, and we were like half staffing it. And I went and watched it like in the middle of the day at a matinee, and it was amazing. And then I watched it again, and then I watched it again. I saw it like 3 or 4 times in the theater. And I remember reading a critic write-up of the movie that stood out to me and I've never forgotten right after seeing it and coming back and looking at reactions and stuff. And it said the ending, how it ends, after all those many endings, how it ends with Sam arriving home, seeing, Rosie at the door and saying like, well, I'm back. And then walking in the door, closing, it reveals like one of the greatest truths of the movie, which is this whole time you didn't realize you were watching Samwise's story.
Oh, for sure.
And I was just like, I love him so much. And yes, it is like, because that's who we are, right? Or who we want to be. We're not always the hero, right? We don't seem like the hero, but like to you don't realize that you're telling the story of the regular person who does the right thing over and over and over again when the pressure is on. Just awesome.
Yeah. And even Tolkien, I think, has said that the whole saga is kind of Sam's story. So
yeah, it's brilliant. When we were pitching ideas for My Offense is Rank, we only had one more, unless we do an impromptu one next week. We only have one more left. And we were like, what are we going to do? And McDermott was like, how about hobbits?
Yeah.
rank hobbits.
The hobbits.
And right out of the gate, Jared was like, I mean, there's really not much point. The clear number one is Samwise Gamgee.
Yeah, if you have a hobbit above Samwise, I'm a little confused. I just don't know what you read, or maybe you only watched Rings of Power. I don't know.
So good.
Well, great. All right. That brings us to your number 2.
That brings us to my number 2, which don't be surprised if I seriously start tearing up thinking about this, that you're going to laugh. You're going to think I'm an idiot, but holy shit, it is one of the best cinema endings of all time. And I'm talking about Rocky 2.
Rocky 2. You're gonna have to remind me. I know how Rocky ends.
So Rocky ends it's on my honorable mentions. It's a phenomenal ending. We talked about Rocky, made the list of did we do best sports movies?
We did do sports movies, and I think Rocky was on mine.
And Rocky was on your list. Obviously, it was on my list. Unbelievable ending because it was so bold. I mean, this is what drives it into Best Picture territory because it was a sports movie where the protagonist lost at the end. And it's like, but it's such a great ending. He just needed to go the distance, right? And then Rocky 2, you have a movie that is filled with all the complications of suddenly becoming kind of a celebrity, kind of a local celebrity. And he starts getting a little bit full of himself, and he starts, he starts being, I don't know. Actually, I'm sorry. Maybe that comes more in Rocky 3. But the point is, as we get to Rocky 2, it's a rematch. Apollo says at the end of Rocky 1, there ain't going to be no rematch, but then eventually agrees to do a rematch in Rocky 2. And this is the reason it's so great is because it's mostly cinema and how it's shot and the way that it's done. Because what happens is at the end of the fight, they're both completely beaten and battered, and they're just exchanging blows one after another. Just watch it again on YouTube. Just watch because the announcers are just yelling like, how are these two still standing? Like they're still like they won't go down. It's uncanny. It's unreal. And they're just bang, bang, but neither one will fall. And then finally at the very, very last moment, like Rocky hits one punch, and as he does, it goes into slow motion, and he throws so much into the punch that he falls, and Apollo falls, and they're both on the ground. And then the film proceeds to go into an extremely slow motion 10-second count. And they're showing every character, some at home, some in the ring, some yelling, the coaches, and each one of them is trying to pull their way up to their feet. And Adrian's at home, and she's got her, she's covering her eyes, and she's like, and Apollo's people are like, stay down, because he's so hurt, and and it's just really slow and dramatic. And at the 10th second, he pulls himself up, and Apollo falls down, and he wins after having lost the first one.
Amazing.
And it's just so, like, the music is building, and then, of course, the very, very, very last line, he's all beaten and battered, and he says, I just want to say one thing to my wife at home, and he's like crying, and he holds it up, and he's like, because he says like she's home with our child, with our son, like she's home with our baby, and he's just like, Adrian, I did it, and he's just like screaming and kind of crying, and the movie just ends right there. And so the build, the drama, tying the story together, coming off the loss, making it a win, all that great sports movie stuff, but then the family stuff, and his ability to fight through and win, and then how it checks off the box of like, I wanted to see him see Adrian. I wanted to see them hug. I wanted to see him talk about it. I want to see all the fanfare from the win. Like
I want to see him fuck.
right. Celebratory bang. They just cut the moment after he says, I did it. He turns, hugs his coach, and it freeze frames. And that's the end.
Movies used to know how to wrap it up.
They used to know how to do it.
I say also another thing I just thought of is, how beat up his face is at the end of Rocky 2. It's just completely mutilated by Apollo's punches. And it still looks better than Sylvester Stallone's face today. His face now looks like an old puffy leather satchel.
Yeah.
I just watched Tulsa King on the plane.
I watched Tulsa King. Nah, not for you.
You know what? We won't go. We're here to celebrate endings.
Let's celebrate endings. What's your number one?
Number one went with a TV show.
Okay.
People know TV shows aren't my main bag, baby, but there is a TV show that I have mentioned on here before that I think I might have mentioned last episode, but it has the greatest ending of any TV show I have ever watched. Joe, do you already know what I'm talking about? The Americans.
Oh,
the Americans.
My God, I forgot about
that. The ending of The Americans.
Oh, shit. I lost. You have the correct answer, and I forgot.
Guts you.
It's the best ending ever.
It's the best ending
and I forgot about it. Oh, my God.
If you're planning on watching The Americans, hit mute for a minute. Okay, and I'll do this when I'm done. Listen, the Americans, they have to flee the country. They've been blown. Of course, they are Russian spies who have been in the United States for 20 years. They've started a family, and
they speak with no accent. They're meant to seem like Americans,
but they're secretly Russian spies,
and their kids don't even know until later.
Their kids don't even know, but by the end of the series, their daughter, who's the older of the two kids, has become an agent. They are running her as an agent as well, and they make the decision to leave their youngest son behind when they flee to Russia, to the Soviet Union, because he's away at boarding school. He doesn't know the truth about the rest of them being spies, and they think he'll have a better life in the U.S. They don't want to rip him free of the U.S., so they decide to leave him behind, but they're going to take their daughter, who's also a spy, with them. Her name's Paige, and they get on a train that's going to take them to the plane that will fly them back to the Soviet Union, and the train stops. And she gets up to use the bathroom or something. I can't remember exactly. And then the train starts again, and you see that she's gotten off the train and she has left.
It's shocking.
It's shocking.
They don't foreshadow it at all, in my opinion.
She's left her mom and dad. They're never going to see each other again. And she's made the decision to stay in the United States, probably with her brother, who couldn't go with them. And you see the ultimate sacrifice that the Americans, that Reese and the other have made, is that they've lost their children to this whole Cold War.
It's so tragic.
So, anyway, it is so tragic. It is so gutting. It is so unexpected. It is just brutal.
And just to take. That's what we talked about this a little bit earlier. It's so impressive to take a show that ran that long and have viewers see the last one and not be bitching about it.
Yeah.
It's so easy to bitch about an ending of a long TV series because it's so hard to finish. And that one, people were just like, speechless.
I think it's like 6 seasons and they just nail it. And that's so
it's a
hard
very
to do.
interesting idea, and I'm not going to spoil anything here. It's a very interesting idea because it doesn't set out to wrap everything up or tell a great ending or, leave you with more questions. It doesn't set out to do that. It sets out to do what could have been a spectacular cliffhanger. It's just like a new story element.
Yeah.
And they just enter it out of nowhere right at the end.
But it's also this culmination that recontextualizes everything.
Exactly.
Because these spies have sacrificed so many things to help the Soviet Union. And then now they're sacrificing, they have to go back to the Soviet Union. They have to sacrifice this life they've built. And then they finally, in the end, have to sacrifice their family, their children. They lose their children. And that's not even the final scene. The final scene, you see the two characters, the mom and the dad, in the Soviet Union, and they're kind of like, what's life going to be like now? And they're like, I don't know. So anyway, if you haven't seen
uncertainty.
You gotta see it.
Amazing. A lot of people want to talk. We want to get you up here, and let's see if you can name some of my 6 to 10 on my list. Among my other honorable mentions, Mick D had a comment earlier, son of a bitch. He said, I think Joe just ranked the 17 movies he's seen.
Right.
All right. So, number 1 for me, this jumps out as a no-brainer to me. It was the first thing I thought of. It'll always be the first thing I think of. I think that it has everything. It leaves you questioning. It leaves you questioning. It ties up every single thing in a way that wasn't tied up 1 to maybe 3 minutes beforehand. It ties the biggest mystery of the movie is solved in the final 3 minutes, final 2.5 to 3 minutes, and but the thing that it adds on is it leaves you speechless. And I walked out of the theater with my jaw dropped and just, how? And that is The Usual Suspects.
The Usual Suspects.
The Usual Suspects is my favorite all-time ending. It is a twist, of course, and it bounced out. I took every other twist off the list. So I'm just going to...
Wait, Joe, now you in no way condone the actions and behavior of Kevin Spacey, do you?
No, of course not. But
it's kind of weird that you brought up a Kevin Spacey movie, Joe.
Oh, stop.
When you could have brought up one that he's not in.
I'm just being honest about movies that completely blew my mind. There are great twists. 2 other great twists are on my list. The Sixth Sense and Primal Fear. Love those
I like
endings.
Primal Fear. That's a deep cut. Love it.
It's a deep cut. I love it, but I just put The Usual Suspects ahead of them, and so that's the only one I put on the list. I stayed away from twists for the rest of the list. And yeah, so I think mostly it goes without saying, but Usual Suspects is an iconic ending that you think the mystery is solved. There's a twist. They do a fake out twist. They do a twist, and they explain it, and it wraps the mystery, and it's done. And you're like, wow.
Well, the way it's filmed too, the way it's filmed, like the editing there, the pacing of Montaigne looking at all the things in his office that were part of the story.
It's not Montaigne.
It's not Montaigne.
Chaz Palminteri.
Forgive me,
but yeah, I can see this.
They have a similar vibe.
They do.
When Chaz, my buddy Chaz, is looking at all the things in his office and you see him putting it together. You see, like, what a great moment of acting. Thank you for correcting me, because that's a great moment of Chaz Palminteri acting. Him putting it all together. Like, yeah, really, that's what makes that ending for me. It's not that there is a twist or that the twist is really that great. It's how well executed the twist is.
That is what I'm talking about. It's not so much falling. The twist itself, the slow motion of the cup falling. Yeah, and then you see it's made. It's Kobayashi porcelain, and it's like so you could see the whole movie. He was sipping this glass and this mug, and the guy's seeing the bottom of it and just improvising off the. I mean, so good.
It's good.
And that's the other thing is the second you find it out. They just end the movie,
yes.
And there isn't a line in that whole time. It is all audio from the movie. So that's the other brilliant thing, is the audio cuts. It's not when the realization happens, the only thing I think he says is like, "Where did he go? The cripple from New York. Where did he go?" But like right before that, you hear, "What's your story, pretzel boy? You hear all of them talking, all the things they were saying, and how did you not see it the whole time? Everything they said didn't add up. This guy's protected on high by the Prince of Darkness himself. All these things are coming in, and then at the very last second, you think a guy like that sticks his head out. Gets this close and then sticks his head out? Like, no, my guess is you'll never see him again. And like that, he's gone. And it's credits. So good.
Really amazing. And I wonder if it would ever be possible to pull off an ending like that in an RPG. It would be very difficult.
It would be.
So we've spent an hour just on our My Offenses rank today.
So fun.
But I'll just say my runners up are Bicycle Thieves, the Vittorio De Sica Italian neo-realist film, the novel The Great Gatsby, comic books. I had Watchmen and Lucifer. I don't know how many people have read Lucifer by Mike Carey, but you should. And then I had Seinfeld. I like the ending of Seinfeld.
Yeah, we're all bad people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. You
want to give any of yours? Your runners up there?
I'll leave it open to some callers. Let's see if they guess any of them. Let's go to the board here. Let's go to Rodith. Rodith has been. Everybody's been waiting, but thank you guys. Rodith, what's up?
Not much. I rank mine by category. I just have my number ones. You stole mine for The Usual Suspects. I too am a great supporter of that film.
Awesome.
But as far as games, Mass Effect.
Yeah. Actually, no, I don't know. I said yeah, but I actually never saw the ending of 3. It's the ending of 3 you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the whole trilogy, and in particular the second, Mass Effect 2. And then
Mass Effect 2 was phenomenal.
The Night Angel trilogy by Brent Weeks is phenomenal as a book. And then because my primary choice for film was taken, I took The Departed.
That's a great one.
With a great twist or 3.
Yeah, kind of 3 quick twists at the end.
I call it the
very
Departed.
Violent twists.
It's pronounced The Departed.
It's The Departed.
I'm sorry. I'm sure, Jared, you'll find something else to pick on me about. But
that was, The Departed is a great suggestion.
Don't get me started on Brent Weeks, Rodith.
The Departed is a great choice.
Not so good, buddy.
The Departed is a great choice because you've introduced so many main characters, and there's all these twists, and it's like, how's it going to end? How's it going to end? How's it going to end? And they actually wrap it up in what seems like a non-unrealistic way. It's very impressive. I love that ending.
And then because I was a cop for 20 years, The Wire.
The Wire's fantastic.
Yes.
Although I can't really remember, what is the ending?
I don't remember either.
Business as usual. It's business as usual for everybody else who's not involved in the law enforcement side and who hasn't died.
But there's quite a shocking death at the end of The Wire as well that I think qualifies.
Season, certainly, yes.
The final season, yes. Yeah, that would be the end of it.
The key there is that the war on drugs goes on regardless. It doesn't matter the participants. Nobody's a hero. And you'll be forgotten as soon as you leave the department or leave the game. And then for my fifth one, and this is actually the most important for me, is Massive Nyarlathotep's variant endings based on what your players do. Massive Nyarlathotep has...
don't say any endings at all. I'm not
going to say about anything about if the evil plan goes through, then do you have the real history that we have now? Or if the evil plan doesn't go through, do you have the evil history that we have now?
I don't understand what that means, Rodith.
Yeah, well,
it's like a poem
vague.
wrapped in a koan.
Thanks, Rodith, for
wrapped in an enigma
for starting us off today with the calls. Yeah, got to keep that vague because I'm in it now.
If the history you know is the evil truth you sought, have you found the real truth?
What do you got, Connor? Connor wants to weigh in here, perhaps.
Connor,
great endings. Connor. No? All right. How about Bruce? Bruce, are you there?
Bruce.
Here comes Connor.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, I didn't realize I had to accept.
That's all good. That's all good.
Now, I thought I heard at the beginning you guys said video games were a valid option.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What do you
and
got?
I'm looking forward to people bringing up video games I've never heard of.
Yeah, and this is more for Joe, not for you, Jared. Sorry.
Okay.
Have you ever played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2?
Oh, no. That's like the newer one, right? Newer.
That's pretty new. Yeah.
Both games phenomenal. Both.
Yeah,
are my favorite
I probably played 30 hours of Kingdom Come Deliverance. I really liked it, but I had to put it down.
Well, what's great about the ending? What happens at the ending that's great?
Well, basically, you play a knight named Henry. Well, not really a knight. He's more of like a blacksmith's son who was orphaned.
Yep.
And at the end of the game, you have like a spiritual confrontation with your parents. And depending on what choices you made in the game, it changes like what ending you get. It's one of those kinds of games. And I always play like a murder hobo-y game. So I got a very, very sad ending. And
did you kill your parents?
Oh no, Jared, they're already dead.
They're long dead. You're
you said you have a spiritual confrontation with your parents.
Yeah, where they walk you through like every choice you made in the game, whether they support it or not.
Oh, wow. The ghosts of your parents.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right. Interesting.
And
does your character go, I'm not like you, Dad?
I don't want your life.
But for movies, my favorite ending for a movie was Saltburn. I don't know if either of you've seen that.
Your favorite ending of a movie is 2024's Saltburn?
Well, I didn't see Saltburn. I'm not going to shit on it, but I will say, looking again at my list.
I'm not shitting. I just am very surprised that's your favorite ending of all time.
I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but I'm a bit of a younger guy, and that movie just had my jaw on the floor.
Huh. Cool. I
don't know how age comes into it. People of all kinds of different ages, even guys in their 40s, can be pretty cool.
Nah.
And know cool stuff.
No, stop it. You can't be. Not at this point.
I saw Saltburn, but I didn't put it on my top endings of all time. But yeah.
I didn't see Saltburn, and I looked at my list just before we went live, and I hadn't thought of it before, and I was like, I don't have a movie on my list after 1995. In terms of my top 5.
That's a good point.
I didn't do any modern movie. Bruce, are you there? Your mic is muted.
Well, when you're talking about all-time greatest something, it's very hard to be like, last year there was an all-time greatest ending.
I did do that, though, for snow movies. When we ranked snow movies, I brought up whatchamacallit, which was just last year, right? Oh my God, I'm blanking on the title.
Yeah,
the Paul Giamatti. At the university campus in the 70s. Oh,
yeah, the Holdovers.
Holdovers, yeah.
Anyway,
That was a newer movie that cracked my top, like, all-time winter movies list.
I mean, also, like, you can argue more that it's a greatest a GOAT because it's like a Oscar nominee. You know what I mean? It's like, there it is. It's like, people know it's a great movie.
What do you got, Bruce? Oh, no.
Bruce.
Your mic is not muted and it's not working. Sorry, Bruce. Keep working on it. We'll get you back up here. What about Alex?
Bruce, you're dead to me.
Yeah, we got you, Alex.
I'm gonna do what Jared just said nobody should do and give a recent film.
Okay.
Greatest ending of all time.
The greatest ending of all time. I don't know if it's the greatest ending of all time, but I did love the ending of Sinners.
Sinners, okay.
Sinners.
I saw Sinners. I liked Sinners quite a bit.
Yeah.
It ends with mowing down a bunch of KKK members and then happily rejoining his wife.
So politically, you agreed with that decision.
Yeah.
So wait, can all the Naish get on board with the fact that it's a good idea to shoot KKK members?
Stop it. Everyone shut up. I'll mute all your mics. Yeah, that was a very, very impactful film, Alex. Good call. Thanks for weighing in. Sorry to cut you off, but there's so many people that want to talk, and we actually have, very little time compared to everything we have to get to today. Verdukai, look,
we're just not going to do it.
We're talking about the greatest endings ever. Like, what did we not mention? There's a million out there we didn't mention. What do you got?
I started Foundation.
Yeah, you told me that last week. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Did you get past the first 20 minutes?
I got past the first episode.
Okay.
Oh, good.
That's a start. Isn't Lee Pace like super
greatest
intense
ending
in that first episode?
Yes, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, endings. So mine's probably predictable, and it was the first thing I thought of when I saw the title of the segment. It's the ending of Star Trek: The Next Generation, where they're all sitting around playing poker.
All good things.
The captain, and he finally joins them.
We talked about that when we were going to do this. We were like, "That's a really good ending."
Yeah.
That's a great example.
8-year-old me loved it and thought it was awesome and cried.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Great. Awesome suggestion. Thanks for calling in, Verdukai. Always
Thank you,
appreciate you.
My sci-fi buddy.
Let's do one more real quick, and then I'm going to start going into my honorable mentions because nobody's getting even close. And these are great endings, I feel like. Psychosis, what do you got?
All right. What I have is that a great ending is one that makes me feel something intensely, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have two picks. One that made me feel something intense particularly well, but one that I will never watch again, and I wish I never saw it.
Ooh. Okay.
Guess which is which?
Oh, I have no idea.
First one, An American Tail. I'll never forgive Don Bluth for making me feel the things I felt at the end of that movie.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Okay, so for the first one, you're going with Don Bluth's An American Tail. What happens in that ending? I don't remember.
I don't remember the specifics either. I just remember the movie is so heartbreaking. Is it because of the ending?
It's because of the ending, right?
Yeah.
Well, what happens at the end? I don't remember.
Fievel is reunited with his family after many hijinks and adventures.
Yeah.
After basically parents have given up hope.
Yeah. Beautiful and amazing. And the other one is one you wish you never saw because of the ending.
Yes.
Are you about to be like, my two movies are An American Tail and The Human Centipede?
Very, very close.
Oh.
Grave of Fireflies.
Grave of the Fireflies. So, Joe, Grave of the Fireflies is an anime film that I have seen because it's very well known. It is a extremely beautiful film about two young children, brothers, trying to survive in Japan during World War II without their parents. And yes, I would agree that that is a really, really tough ending. Yep.
The despair you feel can't be matched.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome answer there. Especially as we got anime coming up shortly. Thanks for the
spoiler alert, child death.
Jeepers. Okay. Let's go into a few more of mine and then we'll move on to our next segment here and talk about
child
campaigns.
deaths in media.
My God.
Go.
All right. So I had already mentioned Inception. That was number 10 on my list. Number 9 on my list, I put the image up as a little bit of a B-side to start this segment. The image was of Robin Williams reading a letter inside of his door. It's the ending of Good Will Hunting. I love the ending of Good Will Hunting because it's a love story that has a lot of complications to it. And then at the very end, he repeats the line that Robin Williams had said so much earlier, I got to go see about a girl. And that's almost the final line. And then the final is like,
son of a bitch, you stole my line.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I love that ending. Then I put on Fight Club. But actually, this one is more about the cinematic nature of it. But I always remember that ending where and it starts playing the Pixies. Where's my mind? And then individual explosions start going off under every
the buildings start
corporate
going down.
tower in the city, and they're all slowly falling to the sound of the Pixies. Great ending. Number 7 is a classic. Can't believe nobody's mentioned it so far. It's a Wonderful Life. Fantastic ending.
Yep.
All the characters in one room. Happy ending. Wonderful things. Everybody wins. So that's a feel-good one. And then lastly, I did a cliffy ending of a movie that had a sequel that was planned. But the ending was so good that it stood out for me as one of the best action movie endings I've ever seen. And that's Avengers Infinity War.
Infinity War, the snap.
The snap was one of the boldest, most shocking endings of a movie I've ever seen.
The snap is shocking. The snap is shocking. Yeah.
And as you go from character to character and you start realizing what's happening and you don't know who's going to survive and who's going to die in the last minute, and they're just going through one by one. Oh, so cool.
I think more movies should end with the snap, you know? The end of a Dakota Johnson romantic drama, just like have Dakota Johnson be like, and then like characters start dissolving. I don't know.
Jam with two ends. That's so good. All right, let's talk campaign endings. All good things.
All good things. Let's talk about ending campaigns. So I think I'm not unique in the fact that although I have been tabletop role-playing games for more than 20 years, there are very few endings of campaigns that I can think of. And I think it's because a lot of us start campaigns that never find an ending. But I have been lucky enough to bring long campaigns to an end a handful of times. And the first thing I wanted to say about all of this, Joe, is that I think that in general, all of us should start sometimes running shorter campaigns. And that's kind of what I've started doing at home, where I sort of plan the game to be like 5 to 10 sessions, right? Because sometimes with my friends, they're so busy that 5 to 10 sessions is how many we get done in a year. It's sad to say, but when you're adults with children and life gets in the way, that's about how much time I have to do it at home. So I've been trying to design campaigns to be shorter. So this applies to shorter campaigns as much as it does to long campaigns. How do you end a campaign? What are your thoughts on that, Joe?
My thoughts go into the strategy behind the movie endings that I selected. So we can point back to some of these tenets as far as I'm concerned. I'll say, speaking from experience, I've played in the end of 3 major long-term campaigns, 2 of which you guys have heard. One ends actually tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is the end of one of those campaigns. And then I ran one that I can remember that it was like a big, long, multi-year campaign that I had to finish as a GM. And when I approached it as a GM, it was the same tenets that I did for these movies, which is it needs to wrap up as much mystery or storylines as you can, and you need to want to see or play more. And by that, I mean, of course, if you're not talking about a TPK, you're talking about it's real. Okay. Sorry. I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, go ahead.
In Pathfinder and D&D traditionally, when your final session is usually a big bad fight, right? And you see kind of who lives and who survives. It's very tough to have your ending sort of end with just the boss dying and not having proper time for epilogues / like codas for the characters, right?
Of course, you have to do that, right?
You have to do that. And it would be better to end the penultimate session sooner than get yourself into a position where end your penultimate session later, than to get yourself in a position where your boss fight is going to end up being the end of a session, because then you don't have time, because you need at least an hour. You need at least an hour for epilogues.
Do a whole session of epilogue? I don't see why you can't do a whole session of epilogue.
I think if you defeat the big bad and then getting everybody back together again a month later to do epilogues seems a little odd. I mean, I feel like you have to plan the session so that it starts with the fight, so that you have time and to let the epilogue breathe. So that would be my first suggestion, is keep the fight and the epilogue in the same session, and then tie up what you can as the GM. That usually means NPC related stuff, and then you got to put it in the players' hands. And one of the things that I love is letting the players kind of go nuts with time at the end of a campaign.
Right.
There should be a view of, some players can say, here's where you see my character 3 days later. And that's the end. And that's their epilogue. Some of them is, here's where you see my character 10 years later or a generation later. And let them all do that, I think is really fun. And if you put or help players get into positions where their characters are famous, are heroes, are known throughout the world, you open up interesting opportunities, which I have used before in other games, where they become an NPC in another campaign. That is literally just not somebody who goes out adventuring, but it's kind of like the king, right? You might be the king. You might be the mayor of the city or something like that. Like that kind of stuff is really fun to do anyway. What thoughts come to your mind when you think about ending a campaign?
Just backing you up on what you've said, you got to make sure there's time for that epilogue to breathe. I would, if my players were cool with it, run an entire session of just epilogue. I think that you could do it. But you're right. You got to make sure
you can do it as long as it's very close to that other session. You
know? Yeah. I mean, you need to let it breathe is what we agree on. You need to like really give some time to it. Don't rush it. Yeah. The other thing that you said was the epilogues, like jumping forward in time. So what a great idea. And often I'll do this just when we're doing a recording for Glass Cannon, we're doing a one shot, we get to the end and I'll say, okay, in our final minutes, tell me what happens to your character. But for the end of a campaign, you can make it a little bit more elaborate, less hurried, like you say. So, Sly Flourish, who's someone who's gaming advice I really love. He says that he always asks everybody where they are 1 year later. Some stuff I saw on Reddit, there are people who go, I ask each player to go, where are they 3 days later? Where are they 3 months later? And where are they 3 years later? And you can kind of take turns going around like that. But that's really, really fun. Sometimes another fun thing to add to the epilogue, especially for maybe horror games or a game where the idea isn't that you just had a heroic victory, is at the end, depending on what the player said they did, I have them do one die roll to see if it worked out. And so when I ran my Vampires in Rome game in Las Vegas, everybody stated what their character was doing like years later, and we had a roll to see if it ended in triumph or tragedy. And that kind of was cool, because people were cool with it. They were like, oh no, I got assassinated. I didn't actually become the leader of the kindred of Rome. And I was just going to open it up to another question too, which is, that epic final battle is so important. How do you prepare a final battle? Like, how do you make, and if you're running an AP, Paizo is supposedly doing that work for you. So you can kind of just play it as they've designed it. But if you're homebrewing or you are, you're in a different situation, how do you make that final battle, that final encounter truly epic? And I can tell you, I did a 2.5 year D&D campaign with my friends. And I was homebrewing the whole thing, and I accidentally made the penultimate encounter too hard. And I had 3 of them down of my 5 players. And I was like, fuck, because that's a place where you don't want a TPK, right? Like, okay, TPK in the very final encounter of the entire campaign, maybe, like, that's still a letdown, but it's kind of still an epic story. But in the encounter before the final encounter, that's rough. So it ended up working out, and they did make it to the final encounter. But just kind of gauging how high you can make the difficulty on those like final encounters, and how to make it truly memorable is difficult.
So as far as the fight goes, the first thing that you need to prepare for is, obviously you want to bring it. You want to be true to the fight. You can't fear character death because the players need to know that can be a great ending as well for their character. Hopefully you don't TPK. TPK, I think, is a bummer, but a single or 2 character deaths as part of it can be awesome story-wise.
Yeah, that could be awesome.
So Troy did this in Giant Slayer. Troy did this in Gatewalkers. I saw somebody mention it in chat. Who said it? Was it Cosplay? Cosplay by Tyler said, I like asking people to write a scene before the finale of where they want to be if they survive. And this is what we do here. Now, partially we're about to do a show, so like we got to be ready with stuff. But this is, I think, great advice for a home game because it makes everybody think, and it adds a lot of stakes to that last fight for each individual player. But what I have them do, Tyler, is I take it a step further. This is what Troy does, is you need to write a coda if they survive the fight and a coda if they die in the fight. And you don't have to write 3 pages of each. You're not talking about multiple scenes. Sometimes it's just an idea. It's a couple sentences that you can riff off of. I think that my character is going to end up marrying that girl in town and having kids if he survives. That's 2 lines. But then you could play it up in the actual session and go into detail or make it a scene. The dying one can be the really fun one. Don't like sleep on prepping your death as a player before going in to the final fight. And for, and that can be, family, right? Like the family left behind, you could see the scenes from them, or maybe it's your spirit. Maybe it's in a celestial realm and something happens. And either way, whenever you try to write, try to leave yourself and everybody else at the table wanting to know more about what's next for your character or their family or their offspring, right? Like it should feel like the start of something new at the very end to me. So I think that's the best advice that I can give. I think if people look back at the finale of Giant Slayer, and I won't go into any great detail in case anybody hasn't gotten there yet that's working through it, my epilogue for my character at the end of that I really loved, and that was very much so about leaving you thinking like, oh, this is the start of something new. And that is a good strategy to get behind. Rather than thinking, how do I make the perfect we live happily ever after? Sometimes you don't have to do that. Just look at The Americans, right? You can say, how do I enter something new into this that we hadn't thought of that's like, leaves you shocked and like, I want to see more. That's right. Another method to go with campaign ending.
I will just say that's all great. Great advice. I writing it ahead of time, to me, that something about that it rubs me the wrong way. I kind of like people just like, let's just, because maybe there's something in the final moments of the final fight that changes what you would do, So I do like improvising it, but I mean, to each their own.
But you're not locked into anything. It's really just an exercise. Right. Be ready, have some ideas,
have a thought,
and if something changes, you can totally change it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Especially, let's say one of your allies dies and you don't, and your pre-written thing was all about you two going off and starting a bar together.
Yeah.
Right? You have to rewrite that on the fly. That's great. That's fun. It's improving. Like, you got to go with the situation.
Well, you just resurrect him and stick to your original idea.
Right. It's just more of a financial investment for the tavern.
Here, this is a little bit of advice I would give. And I think the really well-written published adventures do this, but if you are homebrewing any kind of campaign, a 5-session campaign or a 3-year campaign, if you're homebrewing, if you're writing the plot yourself, always be moving toward an ending. And by that I mean like the thing that the player put into their backstory that they want to have happen, get it to happen as soon as possible. Honestly, like, get right to it. Like, because then the plot becomes, okay, well, what happens after that? And what happens after that? Because what I think we have a tendency to do is someone goes like, well, I want my character to become the ruler of this small village, and you go, well, that's going to be at the very end of the campaign after we've played this for 3 years, and then you never get there. But what if you let the player come into a position of leading the village like in the 3rd or 4th session? We had Abu Salim on the vampire show I did on the Stream of Blood, and he put in his backstory that his character had come to America to search for his sire, the vampire that created him, whom he had lost track of, and in the first session, he met her again. And that was one of the best decisions I made, because it's like, let's get on with it. Right? Let's get to it.
I believe this comes up in one of the books you recommended to me. I can't remember if it's The Lazy Dungeon Master or Play Unsafe or something like that.
Yeah.
It might have been Play Unsafe. But the recommendation is, if you've got a great idea or somebody has a great idea, like, don't push it off. Don't keep pushing it off and be like, oh, it's going to build to this great idea. Look, some ideas need time to percolate 100%.
Sure.
But like you just said, everything should be moving toward that. Don't keep just saying like, oh, I'll just get there when I get there. I'll get there when I get there. Like, just do it because you don't have another idea. do it. Take the great idea, do it. New ideas will come. And it just makes... I love TV shows like that. I love TV shows where they set up little things. You're like, oh shit, man. I don't know what's going to happen when he has to talk to her about this, but that's going to be crazy when that happens like at the end of the season. And it happens in the next episode.
Oh yeah, or the next scene.
Right, or the next scene. And you're like, this is so bold. Like they're just ripping through story. That's great. That is a great way
and you have to give
story.
time to everyone, right? Like you have to make sure everybody's getting their plot, and I agree, there's some suspense in letting things wait a minute sometimes, but more and more I realize if I'm homebrewing something, I should get to it. And I fuck up all the time. I write a homebrew scenario and I play it and I go, wow, I kind of gave them the runaround for too long. I should have let them get to the thing, because the story of what happens after the thing is also going to be good.
Right.
100%. Just a thought.
Yeah. Great thoughts. Let's take a couple calls here, see if anybody has any thoughts on ending campaigns or on great endings in general, and then we're going to talk anime. Can't wait to get people up here
right
talking
before anime. You're killing me, Joe. No,
hey, well, you could lead us off, Dr. Billy. Why don't we start with endings?
Billy, did you hold any horse balls in your hand yesterday?
No, I'm on the unemployment arc. I'm between jobs, so we'll get the balls back later on.
Are they
speaking
heavy?
of horses, they can be. One of my favorite TV endings of all time by far is BoJack Horseman. I think, without going into spoilers, like thinking about how real that was to me, just like it didn't feel like a TV ending. It didn't feel like a fairy tale ending. It was just real relationships. You don't know where it's going to go. You don't know with what has happened, where it can go, if anyone is, going to forgive BoJack or have a relationship with him. It's just so good. But
I didn't see that, but I did see it on a couple lists when I was looking at endings.
It's quite good. But to kickstart anime, I'll just throw out my favorite one by far. And, I'm sure you'll talk about why anime is great, because it just is. It simply is. But Gurren Lagann is a name
Gurren
of one.
Lagann. That is the anime about an underground society, right?
Correct.
And certain people are breaking through to the surface.
Correct. And that's
to try to find a new way of life.
Episode 1, and it just the stakes escalate from every episode. You have constant forward momentum. It's a show that got me to care about giant robots. Not really my thing, but like this show did it. 26 episodes, short to the point. We get to incredible scale that you blow your mind, and that ending brings everything all together, leaves a lot to speculate on what could happen next, because they resolve a conflict, but something new comes up in its wake, and characters end up in places where it makes sense for them. It is sometimes, but some of them just breaks my heart, where I'm just like, I wanted something else for you. I wanted you to be somewhere else to I don't know, to get to the spoilers, but it leaves like a melancholy, a longing on top of incredible action. So if anyone hasn't watched Gurren Lagann, highly recommend it. And BoJack Horseman, but maybe don't watch those together.
Well, I love giant robots, but Joe thinks they're stupid. But I will say...
Thanks, Dr. Billy.
Thanks, Dr. Billy. I will say Dr. Billy hit it again, where, it's a great storytelling technique. You get to the thing, you resolve something, but then it creates new questions, right? So just a great thing about endings or about storytelling in general when you're doing your own campaigns and things.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Who else wants to talk about ending campaigns or movie endings?
How about Cowboy Max? Cowboy Max, have you called in before? I don't remember.
I have not. This is my first time.
Well, welcome in. Thanks
Good
for
to
calling.
See ya. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw indeed, fellas.
To the max.
So something interesting about endings. I've run a couple of campaigns. I've been blessed enough to have every single campaign I've ever run except for one actually end.
Wow, that's awesome.
With a meaning, with my players were pretty happy, I'll say. Few of them got to level 20, a few of them got to level 20 plus. But when it comes to endings, I have a kind of perhaps a counterpoint to what you guys are saying with get to that big moment. I've had players that have asked me to put more filler in because they want to keep playing the game.
Yeah. But you're right up against the theory of, always leave them wanting more, right? Like, it's like, if your campaign is that good and it's that fun, it's, I'm sure the next one will be too. You know what I mean? Like, don't let it linger. It's a fine line. I hear what you're saying, but it is a fine line.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. But it's one of those things where it's like, at what point do you tell these guys, like, hey, look, this campaign is good and all, and I don't want to rush you guys, but you always set up time constraints for your players. I mean, it's D&D is kind of time management, in a game, and so in this example, right, the BBEG is prepping and the players are prepping, but I'm like, hey, look, the amount of time that you guys take to prep, he's got the same amount of time to prep, but they are so stuck on living in the moment and enjoying the game that they would rather, play in the world than let it end. And it's a really difficult thing because you don't want to push
I'm actually going to get into this in my nerd rant a little bit.
Go for it.
Cowboy Max. Yeah, this idea of like prolonging, right? Like, and I a little bit disagree. I mean, I totally get what you're saying, but I a little bit disagree, which is that after you make the whole point was after you make the thing happen, after you get to it, you're not done. More stuff happens after that. It's just you're definitely making sure things happen. And I think a lot of times when campaigns bog down, it's because people that are playing don't feel like anything significant has happened. They feel like they've been on fetch quests or they've been doing side quests and they have not been accomplishing goals, right? Like, and that's what I'm advocating. Make sure the players feel like they're accomplishing
character goals,
right.
not just
or story goals, but
sure.
But and then the game continues on. It's not over because they got that magic item that they've been wanting for a very, very long time, or they became the head knight of the Kingsguard. The story's not over because those goals have been achieved. It just gets more interesting in a different way.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, thanks for calling in, Cowboy. I really appreciate you calling in for the first time. That was awesome. Sounded great too. What was I just gonna say? I just thought of something when you were talking about about like letting things. Oh, I was gonna say about letting things linger on. So I've ended two big campaigns. One a Pathfinder one, another one was a Delta Green one, and the Pathfinder one that I ended and the Delta Green one have something in common. I think kind of fits in with where you're at, Jared. When I say the word campaign, I generally mean more than a year. And in these cases, we're talking about 2 to 3 years is the length of time we're talking about. Now, because of our schedules and stuff, and because of the way we did the show, Get in the Trunk, there was off time. Like there was 6 months we didn't play, right? So it's not like it was like every week for 3 years. And my home game was like that too. It was once a month, and a lot of times we didn't play once a month. We wouldn't play for 2 or 3 months because of schedules. Once I got to the final book of Get in the Trunk, and once I got to the final book in the AP of Council of Thieves is the one I ran, I saw sort of like everything culminating, and I saw what the ending was. And it wasn't that it was I set out to do this intentionally, but what I ended up kind of doing is truncating the final parts and just getting to the final scenes and the final fights. There is a lot more in the book of the last book of Impossible Landscapes than I included in the adventure. I cut a ton of it out because I was like, I felt that the momentum was moving in such a way that like we didn't need more side quests. That's essentially what it was.
Yeah.
It was like at this point, we have told so much story for these characters. They're in the kind of final place. Let's just get to the final fight and get it done. Not that it's like a fight per se, but like, and then in Pathfinder, it was, they could have spent more time like gathering allies. They could have spent more time building up their own defenses, but they were very powerful. They were leveled fine for the fight. And I was just like, let's just do it. The big bad calls them out and goes to find them and takes them out. Like, that's it.
Right.
And it ended up being great because, like, it didn't stretch out or make the end boring. It just sort of, like, got to the business at hand. And, so I recommend that method. Jared, why don't you talk a little bit about anime and what anime means to you? There's a stigma on this show.
Well, we've made fun of callers who their answer to the contest question is an obscure anime.
Right. And I think that there's been a little bit of a stigma that maybe we don't like anime. Now, I'll say for my part, I'm not a big anime guy. I like a lot of the anime that I watch, but I have a problem with like all cartoon watching. I just have a hard time, like for whatever reason, I have a hard time sticking with it in these days. And so I don't know anything about anime. Like even the biggest ones I haven't seen. Even Evangelion, I've never seen.
Right.
I did watch some of Attack on Titan, and that was badass. But I probably watched 4 episodes, and then I was done. I watched some of the samurai one. Is it the blue?
Well, there are many.
It was like it's in the title. It's like the Blue Hat Samurai or something like that.
Oh, Blue Eye Samurai.
Blue Eye Samurai. Yeah. So I watched some of that on Matthew's recommendation. It was very cool, but for whatever reason, I don't stick with these things. I don't see them through to the end. What about you? What's your relationship like with anime?
So anime and manga have been huge for me. And I was really, really into it in my 20s. I have had phases where I'm in and out. But I absolutely love anime. I mean, I've seen the major ones for sure. I've seen Evangelion, Death Note. I've seen Attack on Titan. I've seen Berserk. I've seen, Cowboy
Bebop. That's one Troy
Cowboy Bebop
about.
I have not finished, but I have seen and really, really enjoy. And then I've seen stuff that's more obscure that is really important to me. Like,
I'm sorry, before you get into that, did you see another one? I'm talking about these are the ones that Sydney, Troy, Skid all have seen.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was just in my head and then it just went away. Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist. Again, that's one I've seen, but I have not finished. I have not completed.
Okay. They love
Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist is awesome. It's truly, truly awesome. There are some that are like very obscure that I love. Like I love one called Now and Then, Here and There. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. It's about a kid that goes into the far future where everything's a wasteland. There's one called Serial Experiments Lane about a girl who starts getting emails from a classmate who's dead. So I love anime and I love manga too. And I want to say on manga that I love the Japanese model for manga way more than how American comic books are handled, where manga is always the vision of one creator, right? Usually that creator is the writer and the artist. And rather than being editorialized to death and part of this big connected universe like American comic books where, the manga characters never have to participate in a big team up or tie-in for their company, right? They're always the story and vision of one creator. And they have consistently been thought of as adult entertainment in Japan, which I really appreciate as well. I mean, there are types of manga and anime that are considered for kids, but then a lot of it, I would say maybe the bulk of it, is for everyone or for adults. So very different point of view on comics and animation in Japan than we have here. So what I really like about anime is that because they have no budget constraints, really, kind of like they can draw anything, right? It's animation. Anime tends to have this thing where it gets deeply philosophical and abstract in a way that a lot of other media doesn't. For a lack of a better word, anime gets very weird. Like there's a tendency to push for the avant-garde or something that is unique in how it's presented and told. And that means that it can get kind of esoteric and even incoherent sometimes. Like what the fuck is happening at the end of Evangelion? It's a little hard to parse, but at least it's like trying something ambitious.
Yeah.
And not all media is trying to be philosophical. Talk about big questions of ethics or Anime tends to do that more often. Japanese media also, I think, has a sincerity in its animation that a lot of American animation does not have. American animation is, we come from a tradition where animation is funny. So we don't have like this deep seriousness to our animation or even our comic books sometimes that they have in Japan. And I also appreciate that. I also appreciate that there's often a lack of irony, that it's a deeply sincere expression. And I just think it's funny, you know, when we make fun of someone who calls in and names some anime that you and I have never heard of. I've heard of a lot of anime. I've watched a lot of anime. So if you're naming one I haven't heard of, it might be a little obscure. And I think that the fandom of anime is so deep that sometimes people don't realize that they might be in a little bit of a bubble in their anime fandom, and not everyone has heard of the thing that they like. So, I mean, did we do this topic just to make my feelings on anime clear? Yes. And I think I have now done that.
I mean, the reason I put it on there is we actually had a meeting a month ago when we first knew that this was kind of coming to an end, and we said, like, what are things we have to get to before we wrap it up?
Yeah.
And this
that
is
was
a
one of them.
whole massive area of the nerdosphere, of the geekoverse, as we've said it many times on this show, that we just never really devoted any time to, and that's largely my fault because that's just not something I'm very into. But it's a huge aspect of it.
But it would be great to get Joe to watch an anime. But Joe, I mean, I must admit, like you, and look, this is not a value judgment, but for whatever reason, I have been bouncing off of animation of late, the last couple of years.
That's how I feel. There's nothing that I stick to. Everybody swears how good everything is, and I don't disagree. I'm like, this is cool, but I just don't go back to it. I don't know what it is. But
in my 20s, early 30s, I was all about it. And I'm still heavy into comic books. So I don't know what it is about animation that's not quite hooking me lately. I mean, we all go through phases, but do we have some people that want to weigh in?
Well, let's bring back Bruce. Bruce, we'll give Bruce another shot. See if your microphone is now up and running. I invited you up here, Bruce. So if you can get up here, come on up. Man, struggling. Bruce.
Oh,
there we go, Bruce.
hello.
Hi.
Why, hello, children.
We got you. Welcome in, Bruce. Welcome in. How you doing?
I know you're running short on time, so I'm going to go just listicle, and we can discuss whatever time after. First is congratulations, McDermott.
Yeah.
Big life. Great shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff, McD. Newly married.
Okay. First on endings. I'll go quick, and they're not happy. Boy and his dog.
I don't know that one.
The Mist, okay. The Thing, great ending in The Thing.
The Thing is a great ending. That's a great ending. Okay, what else you got?
Okay. On both anime and ending, a whole classic, Akira.
Mm-hmm.
Akira's amazing. Yeah, I love Akira.
That is one that I have seen. Yep.
I rewatch Akira every once in a while. I think I've seen it within last year.
For games, the modular nature of the ending credits for Fallout, mainly Fallout New Vegas.
Okay.
Yep.
It's all based on what faction you supported and what choices you made, and it gives you a cinematic.
Yeah, that's cool.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And just the last couple things.
Bruce, we appreciate you going so quickly, because you know we're short on time.
Yeah, he's got it all written down, it sounds like.
Bruce is like, I know that you are short on time, so I'm just going to take 2 minutes. Let me just pull out my sheet of paper where I have listed
it's very concise, very efficient.
47 different things.
I only got
in
2
regards
more,
to the Venn diagram. of video games and endings. I have prepared the following entries. I'll make it quick because I know you don't have much time.
What are your last two, Bruce?
Yes, Bruce. What are your last two?
Okay, novels. Peter Hamilton's The Reality Dysfunction, worst ending ever. Because you had to go through about 3,000 pages to get there, and all of it was amazing. And then,
disappointing ending.
Deus Ex Machina bullshit.
He wrote Pandora's Star, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That was good.
And as far as campaign,
I've heard good things.
And as far as campaign endings, it's depending on whether it was war or politics. Exaltation, A Brief Slice of Life, and then Impending Doom, pulling them back from retirement, and then end.
Interesting. Thank you, Bruce. Thank you very much
Bruce.
for your thoughts. I like that exaltation followed by slice of life. Pulling them back in for the next adventure. It's kind of a cool way to cut away. It's kind of a cool cutaway. All the characters coming back together to do a fight off screen. Let's get Jobster up here. Jobster, we hung out in Boston. Jobster was like, "Hey, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in anime." Jobster, did you pull away? There we go.
Jobster, did you pull out? Jobster, are you out?
No, I was conversing about adaptations and remakes with folks in the Discord chat, which is very lively.
It is very lively today. Jobster, what do you got on anime, on endings, any of it?
On endings, Vertex Kai took mine because for me, I was watching syndicated Next Generation as a middle school kid who didn't have any friends, and so like seeing them all playing cards together around that table. And they went off. I wanted more. I wanted more time.
Yeah.
With those folks.
Yep.
And you got it with Star Trek Insurrection, the greatest Star Trek film of all time.
And the third season of Star Trek Picard, where apparently an executive for the second season was like, people don't want too much Star Trek. It's like, no, you've misread the situation here. And so season 3 was basically like, back up the fan service truck. Let's go.
Yeah, see, I'm a kind of anti backing up the fan service truck, and I don't think the problem with season 2 of Picard was that it did not have enough fan service.
I skipped a lot of that season, which is not something I usually do with Star Trek.
It was not great. Picard season 2 was not great, but adding more fan service in season 3, I don't know was the solution. Season 3 wasn't bad though.
Season 3 wasn't bad. Yeah, I think they could have done more interesting stuff. And there is like Strange New Worlds. I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah, that's a great show
out there. Yeah,
I actually watched that first season. That was really good.
With I had something for anime, but it is flying out of my head, and I don't want to take up too much time.
That's
Jared,
okay. You couldn't take up more time than Bruce, who quietly meandered through a list.
Okay, Jared,
it was a comprehensive list.
We talked briefly in Boston, but I didn't introduce myself, and more importantly, I didn't thank you for the awesome job that you did running Haunted City and the awesome job that you are doing running Breath of the Wild, which are both shows that I really enjoy on the network. And I want to give you
thank you. Very nice. Thanks, you for saying that.
Very, very kind words. All right, Jared, give me, on our way out here, on our way out of anime, I want you to give me, this is kind of like an in-show, impromptu My Offenses rank. I want you to give me the Mount Rushmore. 4 anime shows, movies, that I have to watch, that I must watch. Give me a Mount Rushmore of anime. In your opinion.
They be films?
Yeah, films.
Have you not seen any Ghibli at all?
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not Spirited Away. I saw Spirited Away, so I'm good on that.
Oh boy, the Mount Rushmore. Boy. Okay. So I think that you should watch a show that you have heard of called Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yep, everybody talks about this.
I don't know that you should start with that one, but it's on the Mount Rushmore. Cowboy Bebop is on the Mount Rushmore. That's way more accessible. If you were going to start with a show, I would start with that one.
Okay. I've never seen that one, and everybody talks about it, obviously. Is that from like the 90s or the 80s? When did that start?
Bebop 90s probably.
90s? Okay.
Yeah, maybe early 2000s, but it's
Dr.
I
Billy
think the
says
90s.
from the 90s. Oh, also, somebody said something I wanted to mention. Let me throw this out there before you finish your list. Moss Ben said, does Avatar: The Last Airbender count as anime?
Oh, it's American, so I don't know. I mean, it would kind of be depending on whoever's making the list. I was kind of trying to focus on stuff that was made and created in Japan, personally. To me, that's what makes it anime a little bit, although I would say Avatar is definitely in an anime style. And although I enjoy what I've seen of Avatar, it was a little after my time, and I have never really delved deep into it. So,
okay. So I have Neon Genesis Evangelion, which I've always thought was such a funny title. I remember Grant being way into that.
Yeah.
Cowboy Bebop. What else?
Cowboy Bebop. A newer one, although not super new, that made me laugh so hard once you get on its wavelength, which is called One Punch Man.
Oh yeah, Skid loves that one, and I did
One
watch
Punch Man
some
is
of them.
amazing. If you want something a little newer, more accessible that you can just turn on your Netflix, Edge Runners on Netflix is I would say is right up there with some of the great ones, and you can watch it right now. And then I mean, this isn't my Mount Rushmore is going to be 10 things long. You have to watch some Miyazaki, Joe. I would watch Princess Mononoke or Spirited Away. You could sit down with your kids and watch Spirited Away. It's really beautiful and kind of, I mean, it's mind melting. It's like mind melting fantasy. It's just beautiful. Spirited Away. And then I highly recommend the work of a guy named Satoshi Kon. And he did in the 90s a sort of thriller, like about a pop idol who's being stalked called Perfect Blue. That is an anime film, which I recommend. But I could keep going on and on. I mean, I'm Dr. Billy's saying Paprika, amazing. He got Perfect Blue as well.
I also heard there was a lot of love in the Discord chat for. Man, the Discord chat is popping off today.
Yeah,
for Edge
people
Runners.
Are saying Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell is visually amazing. You know, sometimes it's a little bit for the visuals with anime. You know, it's not always like, because the stories can get really esoteric and strange. But yeah, I mean, there's so many good ones.
All right, let's keep moving here. Let's move on to Tron Ares, a trailer that we wanted to react to again as part of finishing up Glass Cannon Radio. Next episode is next week is our last episode. We wanted to make sure we did at least one upcoming pop culture nerd.
I thought we were going to do a big, bold, beautiful
reaction.
journey, but you want to do Tron Ares instead? Okay, we can do Tron Ares. Yeah, I'd like to do Tron Ares.
We got to cut it for time. I'm sorry. We'll just focus on Tron Ares for now.
So Tron Ares. So I watched the trailer. You watched it.
I did.
And so my quick 2 cents on the Tron Ares trailer is so many red flags, right?
Interesting.
One is Jared Leto. He's a huge red flag. I don't think he's that good, and I think that he tends to make annoying choices and stuff. The next red flag is the Tron as a franchise. Tron as a franchise. I don't really care about the original Tron. I didn't like get into Tron Legacy, so this is not like a strong franchise either. That said, the trailer for Tron Ares was strong enough that I'm like, I think I'm going to go see Tron Ares. So even though I've got like 2 no's, in my head, like, no, I'm like, this looks pretty fucking cool. So I think I'll probably go see it.
All right. I'll come right back at you. I am a Jared Leto fan. I like Jared Leto. And I think that I do. But I
love his Joker? You like his Joker?
Oh, maybe. Oh, wait. I don't remember. Was that
he was like a version of the Joker who had like tattoos on his forehead and stuff.
I didn't see that. I like one of the things I like about Jared Leto in this role is I think that he could play a good. First of all, I love the concept, right? I love the way the trailer slowly I like it when trailers do like a monologue from the movie with just images over it, right?
Yeah.
And that trailer starts off with like, we are in the innovative era of AI. Like, where is it going? What is it going to be? Blah, blah, blah. And that's very obviously intriguing to me. This is something that is like haunting our lives at all points right now in real life. And you're kind of like, yeah, like I love movies that are addressing those kind of topics, but then, you're making an action movie out of it. And it's like, what if we had these AI soldiers? Jared Leto seems to me like a good pick for this, to just be like stone-faced and just looking almost inhumanly perfect in sort of his like facial structure and everything. So maybe this kind of role will work for him, possibly.
Right. Absolutely.
To me, it's way outweighed by two that really jumped out at me. One on a lesser extent is Evan Peters. I don't really know him from anything except X-Men, the X-Men stuff, but he was great in that. Low-key,
I like him.
Two big yeses for me in terms of casting are Gillian Anderson. And I am not a big X-Files guy. Like, I've not seen the whole catalog of X-Files. I like X-Files, but I've not seen the whole catalog of it. She is a phenomenal actress and really jumped out to me in...
when I saw her, I got excited. That was like a check in the
When
plus
I saw
column.
her, I was like, oh, shit, because she brings the gravitas to what she does. And so that's awesome. And then I don't know if you're familiar with Greta Lee. Greta Lee is in Tron Ares? Oh, yeah, she's like a cop or something, right? Yes, she is in
Greta Lee, Past Lives, an incredible film.
And I didn't see Past Lives, but I actually did really enjoy The Morning Show on Apple TV. And she's in like the more recent season of that. And she's so good in that role. And she's just so powerful and interesting and intense in a great way. And so when I saw her, I was like, I haven't seen her in anything else. So I'm very excited to see her in this. So anyway, those are a lot of positives for me. I thought the trailer was really well done. I love the music in it. I love the vibe and the action, the kind of the way it looked. But I'm with you. And then I'm like, why did we make this a Tron movie? I don't really understand.
Right.
Like, it feels like it could just not be Tron. But I think that it's got to be part of a Disney thing, right? To be like, oh, and then we're going to have rides for years and we're going to have huge events.
It is. It's like we have this IP. We're trying to do something with it. People have heard of it. So we're just going to keep feeding it to people rather than do a complete. I mean, it's still a completely original sci-fi idea. They're just kind of grafting Tron onto it. The Tron visuals are kind of cool. The colors, the kind of designs of the Tron objects, they're kind of interesting. I they're not enough to carry an entire film, but we'll see. I mean, like everything else, does it have a good story or not? That's really the final decider.
Yes. And then, the Jeff Bridges thing. It's like, I love Jeff Bridges. I'll love him forever. But like, is that just a big shoehorn kind of situation, right? Are you like, we got to get Jeff Bridges in there? And is it going to be forced and weird? I don't know. We shall see. But I am definitely, and I say that after I definitely did not see Superman in the theaters. I definitely have not seen, what's the other one they recommended? Weapons? Is that a movie?
Weapons, amazing.
Skid and Matthew, like, you have to
Superman
go see it. I'm
was
like,
great
I'm
too.
going, and I still haven't gone. Like, I have no time. Youth sports is taking up all of my life now. Things have changed.
Yeah.
All right. So, did I lose you, Jared? I feel like I just lost you. Oh, no, there you go.
No, I'm here.
For a second. All right.
I'm here.
So, with that said, we got to wrap the show up. So, let's get to
Let's wrap it up.
Rant. Let's wrap it up.
Let's get into it. Okay.
Yes, I love a nerd rant.
So, I want to talk a little bit about how less is more. And we have been hitting on that a little bit today in everything we've been talking about when we talk about endings and everything. And I'll just start by saying that the last Brandon Sanderson novel entitled Wind and Truth, which is a stupid title,
Jared, hold on one second.
Comes in at 1,000.
Hold on one second. Your connection is so bad that we're losing some of your good
What happened?
stuff. I don't know. You were fine the entire show, and now it keeps dropping. And like, so I didn't hear the title of the book, for example. I didn't hear less is more. I'm assuming you said, but we didn't hear it.
Can you hear me now? Can you
hear? It looks like you're better now.
Okay, are we okay?
Start again.
Okay. This is about how less is more. Okay. We've touched on it a little bit during our discussion already today, but I'll start by saying the latest Brandon Sanderson novel, which is entitled Wind and Truth, which is a stupid title, comes in at 1,344 pages in hardback. Now, don't worry. Today is not just going to be another Brandon Sanderson hit piece. I'm actually going to complain about media in general.
Okay.
But Brandon Sanderson is just a really good example.
The lens through which you will complain about media is the Brandon Sanderson lens.
Fantasy, the state of fantasy and the state of media in general. So Wind and Truth is 1,344 pages. That is a long book. By comparison, the original edition of War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy was 1,225 pages long. So Brandon Sanderson, for his like fifth Stormlight Archive book, is like, I can go longer than War and Peace. By the way, I think we could all agree, Brandon Sanderson is no Leo Tolstoy. But let's keep going. The Wheel of Time series, okay? 14 novels, all of which are over 600 pages, several of them over 1,000 pages. And virtually every single person I've ever met who've read the series says that there's a section in the middle that is so boring that online everyone refers to it as the slog.
Wait, are you talking about the middle of the whole series?
There's like, people agree that there's at least 3 books in the middle of the series that are so boring they call them the slog. Some people would add a book to that. I have read 2 of the Malazan Book of the Fallen series. You've heard of this series, Joe?
I'm reading it now.
Oh,
yes.
Well, you're not going to like what I have to say. I thought about it, and, both of the books I read were over 600 pages, but I stuck with them even though I had no idea what was going on the entire time I was reading them.
Yep.
And then I looked, and there are 10 books in the series, and the last book is 1,200 pages long. I'm not going to read any more of that series. And I'll never read The Wheel of Time. Not because I'm a slow reader, but because I choose to live my life.
Yes.
I love reading fantasy novels, but I want to do other things. I want to go outside. I want to have dinner with friends. I want to volunteer at my kid's school. You know what I don't want? A part-time job, 30 hours a week, reading the Stormlight Archive.
That's seriously what it is. That's seriously what it is. It is a part-time job to stay up on these series.
This is why these things are so popular among lonely people. I want to read other things. I don't want to just read fantasy novels. I want to read mysteries. I want to read horror. I want to read short stories and nonfiction and literary fiction and comic books and self-improvement books. And in fact, I will go so far as to say, if you're not reading a variety of things, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. We should all try to get some variety in there, okay? And this, all of this doesn't just apply to books. Why did superhero movies become 3 hours long? And why do my friends constantly recommend streaming shows where I have to put in 13 hours to go, yeah, that was okay? 13 hours of my fucking life. We don't think of it that way, So just because there is more of something doesn't mean that it's better. My favorite novel, The Haunting of Hill House, is 182 pages long in the Penguin Classics, and it did not need a 10-episode Netflix series. Mm-hmm. There's not enough story for 10 episodes.
Yeah, if I could cut you off for a second, when we talked about wrapping up the show and doing a final book club, we agreed that we needed to do something short. It had to be on the shorter end because we only had a few weeks. We ended up going with a short story, for a classic fantasy short story in Conan. But I had recommended City of Thieves as a potential book by David Benioff, one of the showrunners on Game of Thrones. That book is so phenomenal. And it's like a World War II historical fiction sort of book. And it's, I honestly don't know. I would maybe 230 pages or something. I remember it as a short book. And the story that it tells is so memorable and so good. I carry it in my mind all the time. I always think about those characters that you don't need to be long to be good. Those things are not connected. And a lot of times, and this is what happened with Stormlight Archive, I was in Words of Radiance and people were like raving about how good it was. And I was just like, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
I feel like things are not happening here.
The Lord of the Rings, which is the gold standard by which all epic fantasy is measured, which I think we can all agree has the most epic scope you can imagine, is only 3 books, and none of them are over 500 pages long. 3 books, none of them over 500 pages. All right? Stories are meant to have endings. If you're reading a story that goes on for thousands and thousands of pages without getting around to an ending, you are getting scammed. Right. And I thought we all learned this after we got into A Song of Ice and Fire.
It's a scam.
Some people might say, I like long fantasy series because I get to know the characters. But really, you can get to know characters in a 200-page book just as well as you can get to know characters in a 2,000-page book. What people really mean is that a long series makes them comfortable. Because with a long series, you're committing to something where you already know what you're going to get. You already know you like it. And rather than challenge yourself or get something you potentially might not like, you're just like, give me more of that. It's like when you go to the restaurant and instead of ordering the new thing, you order the thing you always love, the huevos rancheros. Except if we're talking about like a 1,200 page book, it's a little more like you went to the restaurant and you said, cover my table in huevos rancheros so that it's falling in a pile under my head and burying me.
Right. I mean, in a way, it's like saying, I really like the huevos rancheros, and so I'm going to eat it every meal for 3 months.
Right, exactly.
Like that, it's too much. It's too much.
I understand the need to feel comfortable, right? I read to feel comfortable sometimes, but we shouldn't try to just do things that make us comfortable all the time. Like sometimes we should go to the restaurant and order something we've never had before. And we shouldn't get fooled into thinking that because there's more of something, we're getting a better value. Marvel, Netflix, and Brandon Sanderson all need a good editor. And that's it. That's my rant.
Good, dude. That's a good rant. And well said. We are over time, so we're gonna wrap it up here. But I mean, I'm so excited as we wrap up here the penultimate version of the show, because as much as I'm going to be sad to see it go, I am super excited for next week's ep, dude. Like, let's put it this way. We're going out with a bang on Glass Cannon Radio, guys. Be here next week, Wednesday, September 24th.
Gonna be huge.
We're going extra long. We're talking 3-4 hours. We're going nuts until we need to be done, going as far as we need to go to get in all of the amazing and interesting things from the people that are going to be joining us. Our guest hosts are coming back. Yes. You should see Paula Deming. You should see Mary Lou. Hopefully we'll see a little bit of Sydney Emmanuel, Matthew. Yes. Skid may call in from Scotland. I'm hoping Eric Mona London comes by. What's that?
Yes. I just said something stupid. Yes, Eric Mona. Everybody. All your favorite people.
Everybody that's been a key component of this show over the time it's been around.
I won't be here. I have a thing.
You won't be here, but that's fine. We'll actually be nice to the callers instead of mean. It'll be a change of pace here on the final episode of Glass Cannon Radio.
I'm nice.
Can
we get Bruce back on the phone? In regards to endings?
In regards to endings, let's get out of here
anime,
for today. Guys, next
say.
week, save the date, September 24th, 12 Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We're going long. Guys. It's going to be really, really awesome. So join us, hang out, and we'll see you next week. Until then, later, everybody. Peace.
Later.